All right. So you can really use, tonight we're going to be creating some kind of a negative space painting. And so I have a very busy background here. You can decide how you want the acclimation to be. If you want it to be, more of the vertical or the horizontal, it's totally up to you. So take a minute to think what seems the most right for you. I'm going to go with a tall, skinny. And you also get to decide what color paint you want to use. So I'm going to use white again, just because I want to use the white again. But another thing that would work really well would be to probably use black, or any color would probably work, but I'm going to just use the white tonight. So it's up to you, whatever you feel the call to use. I guess my only suggestion would be, if you're, for example, on this last one that I did, you'll notice that there was a lot of blue and green in there, right? So it wouldn't have been great if I had used the colors that were really in here. Like if I had used a light blue background, you would have just lost all the contrast. So we're definitely trying to pick a paint that will have a high contrast to whatever you've kind of got going on back here. Now you can see this thing is a wreck. I mean, I've got every color in the under the sun, but that's why I decided to use either a white or a black, because I just felt like that would be the best. And because I have still some of those really strong black circles, that's why I'm going with the white. So I just want you to be thinking about a high contrast color. If you've got a lot of white in your painting or your background, you might not want to pick white. I am using 3 different kinds of brushes. 2 of my brushes have angled heads, like you can see here, and I'm also going to use a round brush so that I can get into all the little nooks and crannies that I'm going to be creating. All right, I've got my Liquitex Basics paint. I'm gonna squish out a fair amount. You can always take more. I'm gonna start with my angled brush, and I'm really putting a lot of paint on here. And the first thing I want to visualize is my container. Are my containers. So I'm going to just create like an outline for what is going to become my container for my, I guess I'm just going to call it my plant, right? I mean, I'm just going to call it that. So I'm going to kind of do a little thing like this here, and I'm going to leave a space there because I don't know where I want my little plant to be yet, but that's the beginning thing for me. And then I'm going to do the second one over here as well. So I'm just outlining what I imagine I want to be my containers. I'm going to create another handle just because I liked that so much. So this might be a more squared off handle. And I'm going to get right in there and create that space in there for my little handle. All right, now we got to think about our shapes. So it's the same process. We're just creating the outlines. So I'm gonna just take my brush and I'm going to make some weird little shapes here. I'm gonna start with one side, and I'm just painting in some shapes. Some tips during this part of the process. I actually just did most of my painting free-handed, but it is a lot easier if you grab a piece of white chalk and make some marks to show exactly where you want your painting to go, to use as guidelines. And if you change your mind, you can always rub those chalk marks off very easily. You can see me doing it here with a marker. And then, as you can see, I just grabbed my paint. In this case, I used white, and I just used it to fill in all that negative space, leaving the background intact. So it's a very different way of looking at things, but trust the process. It really does work out. From here, I just loaded my paintbrush up and just kept doing layers and layers of white. You can make them as light or as dark as you want. I actually used 3 complete coats. So at this part of the process, all I'm really doing is adding additional layers of paint until it gets to be the depth that I like. And then really you can, while the paint is still wet, you can use that opportunity to play a little bit. You can scratch little things into the paint, you can sign your name, you can do really whatever you want. You can collage more, but for me, I'm feeling like this is pretty much there. Done. I don't have to do anything else with this one. It's totally cute and I think totally frameable immediately.